Before we begin, do me a quick favor, hit that subscribe button. If you're into coins, collectibles, history, or even just good old nostalgia, you're going to love what we have coming. Alright, let's get straight into it. Let me take you back to a time when pocket change actually meant something. Back when a 5-cent coin could still get you a soft drink, a loaf of bread, or maybe even a bus ride. For many of you watching, especially if you're in your late 50s, 60s, or even older, you remember that world. Coins weren't just money back then. They were part of life. They clinked in your dad's pockets, fell between couch cushions, and sometimes made their way into your own little box of treasures. One such coin, often overlooked, is the 1965 5-cent coin from South Africa. Now, at first glance, it looks like a pretty ordinary coin. It's small, silver in color, not particularly flashy. But don't let that fool you. Because once you look a little deeper, you'll realize this coin is packed with history, symbolism, and, if you're lucky, maybe even some surprising value. The 1965 edition of the 5-cent coin came during a transformative period in South Africa's history. The country was just a few years into becoming a republic, after cutting ties with the British monarchy in 1961. As part of the shift, coins started getting a new look. No more Queen Elizabeth. Instead, the obverse, that's the front of the coin, featured a new face, Jan van Riebeeck, the Dutch settler credited with founding Cape Town. His image became iconic, instantly recognizable, and for a while, practically symbolic of the country's identity. Now flip the coin over, and what do you see? A delicate, proud bird standing tall, the blue crane. That bird isn't just there to look pretty. It's the national bird of South Africa. It represents elegance, pride, and the fragile beauty of nature in a land filled with contrast. Think about that for a second. One side shows the bold settler legacy. The other side, the soul of the land. That balance alone tells a story. Back in 1965, millions of these coins were struck. Over 30 million, to be exact. So yes, most of them were used and worn. Passed from hand to hand in shops, petrol stations, markets. Forgotten in jars and drawers. So you might be thinking, how could something so common ever be valuable? Here's where it gets interesting. Just like with people, it's the details that make the difference. The year, the design, and more importantly, the condition of the coin. If you pull a 1965 5-cent coin out of your old cigar box, chances are it's been circulated. It's got scratches, wear, and a story or two to tell. It might be worth a few rands or cents. Maybe $1 or $2 if you're lucky, but what if your coin is different? What if it's in mint condition? What if, somehow, it avoided the rough life of pocket change? What if it was an error coin, struck off-center, with a planchet clip, or a doubling on the text or image? That's when the real treasure begins. Some of these coins were struck with tiny mistakes that most people never noticed. A clipped edge, a misaligned die, a weak strike, all these little imperfections can make collectors go wild. Because while the average coin might be common, these errors are rare. And rarity is what makes value skyrocket. Now let's talk condition for a second. When a coin is graded, it can range from poor, something barely recognizable, all the way up to mint state, which looks like it just left the press. Mint state coins, especially from 1965, are extremely hard to find. Why? Because most people use these coins every day. Very few people save them in pristine condition, and here's the kicker: a mint state coin with no scratches, full luster, and sharp details, especially if it has an error or variant, can be worth a small fortune. Even if it's been sitting in your collection all these years, you might not realize just how special it is until someone with a trained eye sees it. And now think about your own past. Maybe you collected coins as a kid. Maybe your father or grandfather kept a few in a box labeled old money. Maybe you bought a few at a flea market years ago. This specific coin, the 1965 South Africa 5 cents, might be in your collection without you even realizing its potential. Coins like this aren't just about metal and minting. They're about memory. They're about holding a piece of your life in your hand. That coin might have passed through 100 hands, but once it lands in yours, it becomes part of your story. Maybe you remember hearing the sound it made when you dropped it on the kitchen counter. Maybe it reminds you of the tuck shop near your school. Or the way your grandfather used to roll coins on the table while telling stories from his youth thought it's more than currency. It's a time machine. Now, if you're wondering whether it's worth checking your collection, the answer is yes. You don't need to be an expert. You just need to look closely. Hold it up to the light. Look at the edges. Is it smooth or does it look like part of it is missing? Are the images sharp or faded? Does the date stand out clearly? Is there something different? And here's the part you've been waiting for. If you have a 1965 South Africa 5-cent coin in exceptional condition, mint state, crisp detail, possibly with a minting error, then you're not just holding a memory. You're holding something that could be worth up to $1,650. Yes, you heard that right. A coin you once thought was worth just a few cents could now fetch over $1,650 in the collector's market. Not all will reach that number, of course. But some have. And some will. That's the magic of coin collecting. The smallest things can hold the biggest surprises. So the next time you're going through that old box of coins, take your time. You never know what's waiting to be discovered. That 1965 5-cent coin. It might just be your hidden treasure.